Yo, 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 yo. CTB, Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy Jay Slay. Say what up to him, man.
What's up, everybody? Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, comment. Let's keep this channel growing. You know why? Because we love boxing and you love boxing.
That's a fact. That's a fact. This is the place where the fight fans come. Pick these delicious entrees of boxing knowledge. And today on the menu, we have from a podcast that we both follow from Andre Berto's TV. It's called Squared Up. It's pretty much Andre Berto and a guy named D Smoke pretty much giving their accounts on their boxing experience and their fight experience. It's a really dope podcast. I recommend you guys check it out, man. We're gonna put the link in the bio for it. But it's just certain little topics that he had in his podcast that we thought was interesting, and we kind of wanted to chop up for you guys. So the first clip I want to chop up for you guys is this one right here. This is coming from D Smoke and his account of his ring experience. He's describing to you guys his ring experience and what he thinks about being in the ring with someone.
You know what I'm saying? But I've sparred hundreds of rounds.
Definitely.
And I got 3 amateur fights.
That's it.
All 3 of them, let me tell you this, all 3 of them, the one thing that you said, like, they came in there to send me home.
Oh, for sure.
And I could tell by when that punch, like some of them hit my shoulder, and I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker's strong. Like, or, you know what I'm saying? Or it go past me and you can still feel it go.
Yeah.
So that being the case, the world may never know any of those 3 dudes. Those are not top boxers. Those are not world renowned. But it doesn't change the fact that when I'm in there, you know, just because they're named doesn't mean it's not as dangerous. Doesn't mean, you know, they have a puncher's chance and all that. So there's somebody being undefeated. That's a result of them being excellent.
Definitely.
There you go. That is D Smoke giving you his ring experience, and he pretty much put it in perspective, man. What was your thoughts on his perspective of his hundreds of his hundreds of rounds of sparring and his 3 amateur fights?
I mean, I enjoyed it. Oh,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I enjoyed it. It gave some insight to people that's never been in the ring. You know, some details on what a amateur or somebody who just, you know, you would consider at the bottom as far as fighters, you know, because you got your amateur career, then you got a pro career, then you got an average journeyman, a title contender, and then you got the elites. So this somebody telling you, somebody who came in as an amateur and telling you, even as an amateur fighting these guys will come in and take your head off. These guys did not want to lose. These guys were trying to make a career and to improve their way of living for them and their loved ones, just like you are. So to me, it's huge for us as boxing fans, because sometimes we get carried away as people that never been in the ring or never been punched before. Like I've done very light sparring, you know, basic fundamental, but I have never been in a real boxing match. So I'm always very careful when calling somebody a bum or suck or so forth, or whatever you want to call them. And we got to learn to respect these boxers, man, because when they go in that ring, man, it's a dangerous game. So let's give these guys they roses and credit, man, while they here, man. Don't wait till they, you know, can't talk or they in a bad state before you start to give these guys their credit. These guys that we talk about every day on this show and on YouTube, on Facebook, these guys are not normal. These guys are the best of the best. So even these guys that you want to talk crap about that got 2 or 3 losses, these guys are special, man. So that's what I got out of that part.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree with D Smoke. I mean, I also have hundreds of rounds of sparring. I also have a few amateur fights. I mean, in double digits of amateur fights around the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. He's absolutely right, man. Especially when, like, I mean, sparring is sparring. Sparring is part of training. Sometimes you go harder in sparring than you're supposed to, but it's still sparring at the end of the day. But when you in those fights, man, when you when you go to another gym that you never been to a rival's gym or whatever the case may be, people start. This is back in the day. People start putting money on that fighter, and then you the man from your gym, your weight class, so you want to big up for your gym. When you in that scenario, bro, them guys are trying to take your head off. Them guys coming, man. The best way I can explain it to a person who's never been in the ring, just imagine you've been in the longest street fight of your life. Let's imagine that. I know a lot of you guys haven't been in a fight since elementary school or high school, but just imagine, right? You got on gloves and headgear, yeah. But just imagine if every time you got knocked down, somebody waited till you get back up again just to beat your ass some more. Every punch they throw, they trying to knock your head off. Well, me personally, I never been down other than once. It was from a body shot. But when I got up from that body shot, I had to continue that fight. My legs weren't right or nothing, but I had to survive pretty much because it ain't no being no punk at that point. You can't just be like, no, I quit and get out the ring at that point because your reputation's on the line. Your gym reputation's on the line. There's money on the line in some cases. So, I mean, your pride aside, but that's also on the line. So, these guys are trying to take your head off, man. And whether you know who that person is in the ring or not, some of them dudes are destined for greatness, but some will never make it to be great. Just like in any other sport, it's guys you seen probably in the parks that's better than Michael Jordan, that's better than Iverson, that's better than LeBron. But they playground guys. They play in the playground because they never had that chance to make it to the NBA. Or maybe they messed up in life and they, you know what I'm saying, messed their chances up. Or they had an injury. We never know the case. But this guys in boxing that same way, man. This guy's just great, man, in these rings. And you never heard of them, man. So to me, that was telling to me, man. I appreciate everything he said at that point. But yeah, we got more clips to chop down, man. Let's chop it down to the next point. I think Andre Berto speaks next.
And having the dog, having that will. So I avoid the tendency to be like, oh, but he ain't fought nobody. What do you mean he ain't fought nobody? He fought everybody that was put in front of him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the part that gets me, you know, because you got the both sides of the fence thing, right? Yeah. So people who, and I respect Al Haymon based on what the fighters who are signed to Al Haymon say, like, I respect that because from what I understand, it's like, oh, I don't own you. I'm helping you own yourself. He's a mentor to these people. He's, you know, putting people in position. Definitely. So I for sure, if I had to say, you know, what side looks better for young black businessmen that are boxers, I'm gonna say Al. For sure. Right? But I'm also not gonna knock nobody that chooses to make the career decisions that are in front of them for sure and pave their own way. Yeah.
Let's start right. Let's cut it right there really quick. Again, the source will be in the description. This is from Andre AndreBertoTV. It's a podcast called Squared Up, starring Andre Berto and D Smoke. That was D Smoke talking. Pretty much giving big outs to Al, man, Al Haymon, and pretty much. I mean, what you feel about what he said about Al Haymon? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I love it because what people don't know about Al Haymon is most of the people that signed to PBC filed a contract. They not really signed to people. They're allowed to do what they want to, but they stay with PBC because of loyalty. And the reason why they stay with PBC because of loyalty, because Al Haymon is just not showing these guys how to make money from fighting. He's showing these guys how to make money in real estate, how to start their own businesses, how to make money outside of boxing. Like, you know, I seen Mayweather talk about it all the time, how Al Haymon put him onto a lot of different businesses and avenues to make money. I see a guy like J-Rock. He said that he makes more money on real estate investment than he did in boxing, and that pretty much Al Haymon showed him how to do that. So, I mean, other than, you know, guys like Bob Arum that's pretty much got, you know, Lopez and Mikey Garcia left them, and Lopez is going over the Triller now, and you got these guys and you got people telling them they not worth this money, they can't get this money. But then you got a guy like Al, man, that's telling you, man, I'm just your advisor. I'm not your promoter. You're your own promoter. You make the money from your promotion. I'm gonna show you how to have your own promotional business in boxing where you can get paid in the ring and outside of the ring for promotion, as far as merchandise, gate sales, stuff that you never heard of in the sport of boxing. These guys are risking their life. Some of these guys, even if you don't die, would never be the same. I mean, could be messed up from the sport. So for them to get the opportunity to not only make money now, but to provide them with generational wealth, I think that's huge, man. That he's not a filthy scheming a scum that's trying to take advantage of a guy that can fight. He really cares about the guy, and he really want them to succeed not only in the ring but in life. So a lot of people think that, oh, y'all PBC Al Heyman fanboy because he black. Yeah, I do love that he black. I do love seeing a black man run a corporation and business. Yes, I'm proud of that. I don't care what y'all say.
Facts.
But other than that, it's more to it than that. It's the fact that he gave these guys other avenues to make generational wealth. And to me, that's bigger than the fact of him being black. But I also love the fact that he is black. So yes, I do support Al Heyman and PBC. Well, more of Al Heyman because I love what he does for the boxing side of the ring.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, man. People forget too that Al Heyman is not a promoter. I don't know if you said that already, but Al Heyman he's an advisor. He doesn't get a promoter credit for promoting these fighters. He get them a platform, a network to fight on, and then advise them on steps they take to maximize their profits. That is his only role. To me, that is great, man. That's probably a lot of promoters was mad at him because he was showing fighters the game. He pretty much took the Mayweather blueprint, and now instead of selling it all to the highest bidder, he's pretty much just giving it to fighters. He pretty much is signing as advisors to fighters and giving them the game. I mean, look at let's use Adrian Broner for example. How many times has Adrian Broner been in the news in a bad light? Look how many times Adrian Broner had headlining fights since then. Like, he taught Adrian Broner the game. He taught every fighter the game, from Errol Spence, man, to, like you said, J-Rock, to the Charlo brothers. Like, it's so many people who actually are getting wealthy outside of the sport that when they do.
I about to say, I think Santa Cruz named his son after Al Heyman.
Exactly, Santa Cruz named his son. He named Al Heyman his godfather. You don't hear nobody naming Bob Arum their godson or their godfather. You don't hear nobody naming Eddie Hearn as their godfather. Al Heyman, man, it's big ups to me because like I said, he's teaching these fighters how to make money outside of the sport. Like, he's not just pretty much using their whole prime up to fat his pockets up. He's using their prime and say, yo, you only gonna be at the box for this amount of years. You need to get this in your portfolio. You need to do this for your portfolio. You need to do that. Because to be honest, man, look at all the older fighters, man, that's poor right now. Look at the James Tonys, man. Look at you know what I'm saying? And Evander Holyfield was in debt a long time. Mike Tyson lost a lot of money in his day. Look at all the black fighters, man, that can barely speak nowadays. Like, they been fought so long they can't even hold a real conversation no more without blacking out or mumbling or stumbling. Al Heyman is showing them the game that so they don't have to wait that long. They don't have to fight that long to be financially set. Their grandfather or their grandkids will be financially set, and so on and so forth. He's showing them the blueprint, so when they turn 40, they can get out. Look at Floyd. When Floyd said, yo, I'm stopping at 49. And then McGregor fight came up. It was too much money to turn down. So now he fought McGregor. So now Floyd fight for fun. He fight exhibition fights, fighting random nobodies. That's Al Heyman showing him the ropes and showing how to market himself and showing him that, yo, you don't need Bob Arum. He probably was the one that Floyd ear back in the day saying, yo, you don't need Bob Arum. Go ahead and pay that $750,000 and buy your contract out. We're going to do this shit ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That was all Bob Arum. Bob Arum. That was all Eddie Hearn. Not Eddie Hearn. It was all Al Heyman. I'm saying everybody's name. It was all Al Heyman, I feel, and Mayweather's ear coaching them on what to do. And Mayweather followed that blueprint perfectly, man. And now Mayweather, the richest fighter that ever lived. But yeah, man, I had to touch on that, man. Give big ups to Al Heyman, man, because really he don't get enough praise, man, for what he do for these fighters, bro. But on to the next clip really quick.
You know, that being said, that being said, I make the distinction between somebody who's a star in boxing, and somebody who's a difficult fight.
Ooh, yeah.
The casual people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's a nobody."
I hate when people say that, bro.
You can't do that, bro.
And those are some of the scariest fights to fight.
Because you're supposed to win in other people's eyes.
When you know in your mind that this motherfucker, even though he might not have my skill set, but he's durable as fuck. And if I don't come in 100%, he gonna make this fight very difficult and hard. Or, something might happen. And just the fact that everybody else's eyes is around in the crowd.
Yeah.
He easy. He da-da-da. He that. Man, listen, bro. We ain't never risking our lives every time.
Every single time.
Every single time. That's when I hate when it comes to a lot of situations in boxing. Of course, managers, promoters, and, like networks, whatever the case may be. When you're a fighter and you demand a certain type of money to go in there and scrap, and these suits, they argue you down about your worth. That shit gets me heated. It's like a Terrence Crawford just went through with Bob Arum, and now you see like Teofimo Lopez, he just got a big check, from Triller, but you hear Bob Arum and some of these other people talking crazy, or like even a lot of guys over there with Al, they saying they getting paid too much. Listen, bro, we in there risking our lives every time. And
that was Andre Berto speaking facts, bro. Like really, really, man. Again, the podcast will be in the description. It's from AndreBertoTV, a podcast called Square Up. You speaking facts, man. How do you feel about what he said about the fans? Let's start with that point first. He made two great points in that clip that I want to talk on. The first big thing he made was the fans not knowing or saying fighters are fighting nobodies. He's saying they are some of the most dangerous fights. What was your opinion on his take of that?
I totally agree with him. We got a thing as boxing fans, and I guess I'm somewhat guilty of it too, that we look at just the elite fighters in the game, which in every division you might have one or two I would call somewhat elite fighters in a division, and then every other fighting division is a nobody. So when these guys fight these high level, B level fighters, you saying they bums or they ain't fought nobody. And we kind of got to get out of that. Now, I do understand when you're talking about the elite of the elite and you comparing two elite fighters, and you may say, well, this guy's fought better competition. I feel like this guy's fought the better fighters. That's fine. That's cool. But when you can tell somebody that, oh, the guy he fought because he was a B-level fighter, he's trash. Where that B-level fighter probably was the best fighter in his state. He probably was a Golden Glove amateur. He probably was somewhat of an Olympian, went to the Olympics or tried out for the Olympics. To even get a tryout, you got to be special. So when you talk about some of these guys that you never heard of, or they may not be what you would call the elites, you just quit to just write them off as a nobody or just chalk them up as a win. Where in all actuality, they looking at it as, this is my shot. If I beat this elite guy, then I can get myself a big payday, or I can get myself, in position to make the kind of money they making. So these guys is fighting like they life on the line, because beating you, the elite fighter, is gonna change my life. So those fights are not easy. So I think us as boxing fans, me too. All us boxing fans, we gotta get out the habit of just, if it ain't the top guy, it's just you don't want to give him credit for the win or chop it up as just an easy fight.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. Yeah, like I said, look how many upsets there's been over. Just look at the past 10 and so years. The example I want to use is possibly let's say Adrian Broner, when he got upset by Mayana. Now let's use a more recent one. Let's use AJ. AJ is popular right now. Let's use AJ. Andy Ruiz. I remember in a lot of comment sections, Andy Ruiz would get knocked out in the first round. He was coming on short notice. he was nobody. He didn't fight nobody. The only person he fought was not Charles Martin, Parker. He fought Parker, and he lost. He barely lost to Parker. So everybody was like, "Oh, he lost to
Fat
Parker."
boy.
Yeah, he fat. He barely lost to Parker. There's no way he beat AJ. That's a. And then on the other side, you had people saying, "Oh, AJ, that's a cherry pick. You cherry picking Andy Ruiz. He's an easy touch. You're supposed to fight somebody a little tougher than that for your American debut." So on both sides, from the AJ fans, you saying, "Oh, that's an easy fight. He's gonna win. That's an easy fight. He ain't fighting nobody." And then on the AJ haters, you had people saying, "Oh, it's a cherry pick." Nobody knew that Andy Ruiz was gonna go in there and basically beat the shit out of AJ. He pretty much knocked him down 5-6 times in the fight.
It's a lot.
It was a lot. He pretty much had AJ. He made AJ quit in the corner, pretty much. Nobody's seen that coming. So what Andre Berto basically saying is there was basically exactly what he described. Those be the toughest fights because those are the fights that everybody are saying. Your haters are saying you're supposed to beat them, and your fans are saying you're supposed to beat them. So then when you go in there and the guy's tougher than you expected, or show you something you never seen before, you on the spot at that moment. You can't just get out the ring like, yo, let me go back to training camp real quick. I didn't train for this. You can't do that. You gotta adjust on the fly. You have to change your game plan on the fly while being punched. It's not like football where the coach can change his plays up real quick and you know what I'm saying, on the next possession or some shit like that. It ain't like that in the boxing. You go in the corner for a minute, your trainer got to tell you a game plan, or you have to adjust yourself in that 1 minute while getting your win back. You understand what I'm saying? And then you got to go back out there and do it again for another 3 minutes. And then that game plan don't work. Yep. You got another minute to adjust your shit. You can't call. My whole point is you can't call fighters bums. I was probably guilty of it in my past, but over time I learned to not do that because it's not only disrespectful to the people who actually did it, but it's disrespectful to the people who I would say did it before them. Not only that, but it's disrespectful to people who's actually fans but respect the fact that they never did it before. Like my boy Mom right here, he said in the beginning of the show, he did some light drills and he did some light sparring before. So he's not gonna sit here and call no fighters no bum. He'll give you his adjust, like he'll give you his opinion on their like grade level or whatever grade level of opponents they faced. But he know every fighter has a chance. Some of you fight fans are pretty much just saying, just use Wilder for instance. Wilder never fought nobody. Wilder fought nothing but bums. But then you praise somebody like Dillian White and say Dillian White has a great resume, but their resumes are comparable to me. Their resumes are pretty much the same to me. To be really honest, the same with AJ. Really the same with Fury. People saying AJ fought the better competition than Fury. All Fury beat was 2 fighters. But to me, that's comparable to AJ. AJ beat the same fighter that Fury beat. What other fighter has AJ beat that you would say is on the Tyson Fury level? What other fighter would you say that AJ beat is on the Deontay Wilder level? So to me, it makes no sense. You can't call one fighter resume better than the other fighter, or you can't call a fighter a bum per se because you don't understand what it takes for them to beat that fighter at the end of the day. So please stop calling these fighters bums and start respecting their skill set and start breaking down their skill set as a fan and not as a hater. Pretty much what I'm trying to say. Like, look at if you're an AJ fan, look at what AJ does great, and then compare that to what Fury does great. And then try to say how he can catch Fury. Don't look at it like, oh, Fury ain't beat nobody and Fury gonna get walked through. How you gonna get walked through? Describe to me as a fight fan. How do you see that fight going? If you can't describe to me in detail how you see that fight going and what game plans you see them fighters going in there with, you're not really a fight fan. At the end of the day, you just a fanboy. At the end of the day. But yeah, the second part that he made that I wanted to talk about that I think was a good ass point also was the price points. That a lot of these, he called them suits. So we'll stick to that name. He called them suits. A lot of these suits are telling their fighter what they're worth. And like Andre Berto said, he hates that. He can't stand it. I'm the same way. What? How do you feel about the suits? Pretty much disrespecting these fighters, man, by not understanding the risk that they're taking and the sacrifice they're taking on their bodies, and really underpaying these fighters, man. How do you feel about that?
I think it's crazy for people in general to say what a fighter's worth because, like you said, they're risking their lives. I mean, I think over the last couple of years, we probably had that we know of 3 or 4 or 5 different boxing deaths. People have died from head trauma. And like you said, you got all these fighters that in time, they're never the same. I mean, look at Muhammad Ali. I mean, later if you go watch the podcast and watch the whole thing, which is a great podcast interview he had with D Smoke, he talked about in there also about, he said he went to an event and he said he was excited to go. And he said he got to meet all, you know what I'm saying, these legends and people that he looked up to. And he said he went in there and he's talking to them and like 90% of them are broke and can't talk or mumbling over their words. And he was like, whoa. And it was like a wake-up call for him. So, you know, I mean, you look at the interview with Mike Tyson with Tommy Hearns, how he sound. Like I said, Evander Holyfield, you talked about earlier. Medrick Taylor, all these different examples. We can go on and on. Gotti, and how he, you know what I'm saying, because of his head trauma, he ended up committing suicide and stuff. You know, there's so many different examples we can make. So for people to say a fighter is not worth this or they shouldn't ask for this kind of money, I think you're an idiot to even say that. Like I said, man, these guys, it's no kind of they don't have retirement plans, nothing. They don't have, you know, like in NFL. I think if you play, what I still think is bad, if you got to play like 6 years in the NFL and then you qualify for Social Security pretty much. Yeah. Boxing, it ain't none of that. So what they make today, like you said, you probably got about 7 or 8 good years for a good boxer or above average boxer. So you know you may box from 22 to 29. You know, if you're really good, you might make it at 33, 34. But then you got to understand these people got to live from 34 until 70, 80 years old, God willing. So they got to make enough money not only for today, but to live the rest of their life. So for people to come out and tell a fighter that you shouldn't take that or you should do it for guts and glory, just go out there and fight with your shield, man. Stop worrying about money. Worry about your legacy. Yeah, you do want a legacy because a legacy you can't put money on and it's gonna live with you forever. But you also got to worry about your kids and what they gonna live for, or are they gonna have a father that can play with them or run behind them in the backyard, or can hold a conversation with them without forgetting what they said. Facts. So sometimes y'all gotta just as fans, man, let's just sit back and just think. Get out of your fanboy panties and just think about, you know, outside the box sometimes before you speak. That's all I'm saying. Cause I see it all day, man. I see it on these different posts and comments on Facebook, and it drives me crazy. And I want to respond to all of them, but I say it's a waste of time. So I'm just hoping, man, that even a couple of people watch it, man. There's boxing fans that looked at it from that perspective. Maybe today what we talking about can kind of change that.
That's a fact, man. I agree with everything. Like you said, it's not just the suits that's underpricing these fighters. It's the fans telling fighters what they should and should not take. That is not our place as fans. We can debate about it all day. We can debate about price points and all that. But like I said before, in the negotiating, we had a debate here on the show. We were talking about the 60-40 split with Crawford and Spence. While we can have our opinions on what the split should be, at the end of the day, we don't have the place to tell a fighter what they should take for the risk they're taking, what they feel they deserve for the risk that they're taking. Like, even the promoter really don't have it. I mean, a promoter can say how much money they can make, which is another reason why I like Al Heyman, because Al Heyman, he tells these fighters, this is what you should be able to make, and they have to reach their goal is to reach that cap. Their goal is to make those amount of ticket sales. But you got promoters who saying, "Oh, you fighting that guy? I'm only going to pay you." Let's use Eddie. Let's use Al Heyman. Not Al Heyman. Eddie. What is his name? Bob Arum. I keep so many of them bad, man. Let's use Bob Arum negotiating with Porter, for example. he came out and said, "Yeah, Porter, you fighting Crawford only worth $1 million," and then increased it to $2 million after the pressure came on. That is so disrespectful to me, because not only is Porter a former champion, Porter is every bit of top 5 in that weight class, and on top of that, he's bringing the audience himself. So for Bob Arum, my guy who's never been in the ring before, while he has been promoting since the 70s and 60s, that's another thing that I feel disrespectful. He's been promoting since the 70s or the 60s. He know that fight was worth more than that. But what he's doing is he's trying to get his money first. That's a promoter's job, is to get their cut first. They know, a good promoter know what a fight is worth. He know, oh, I can market this and make every bit of 30-40 million. If I only got to pay Terrence Crawford 10 and I only got to pay Sean Porter 2, where the rest of that money going? That's going straight to Bob Arum's pocket. That's going to his legacy. That's going to his generational wealth. That's going to his kids. But he ain't taking no punches. He ain't working no sweat in no training camp. He ain't jogging no miles. He ain't jumping no rope, punch no bag, ain't do nothing. But he get the largest cut of what these fighters are making. So I'm like Andre Berto, man. To me, that gets me heated, man. To be honest, and that's another reason why we got to big up Al Heyman, man, because that shit to me is just disrespectful. But back onto the fans real quick. The reason why it's so disrespectful to the fans, because not only are we not putting in none of the work, but we also are not getting none of the money. Like, at least a promoter can say, yeah, I want to get this cut, and they're getting paid off of it. We as fans, we're not getting none of that money. So why are we even having a conversation, debate, or argument about what these fighters should take? That is not our place. And it's really the reason why I feel it's messing up the sport is because now more and more fighters are trying to negotiate through the public because they know their fan base is going to take their side. They know, Crawford know, well, my fan base is going to say it's wrong for me to take anything less than 50-50. So my fan base is going to watch me fight no matter who I fight. The same thing with Spence. So with that being said, man, this is TTB. We back on here, man. This Chin Tuck Boxing. Let him out of here, man.
All right, everybody. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, comment. See that little logo at the bottom of the screen? All you got to do is click on that logo and hit subscribe. For a fact, subscribe to us and hate on us. Talk shit about us. We don't care. As long as you like it, you can dislike it. But listen to and follow the videos, man, that we're going to be putting out every other day for y'all. But most of all, man, peace and love, and we out of here.